Jesus. Welcome to another Aries Point Project video. My name is Aaron. And I don't know what's going on with my hair. I'm Leo King 2.0 here. Worked all night on this hairdo. I haven't done a video in a while. Been in a lot of life transition, a lot of energies, modalities, all that stuff. That liminal 12th house space. So my mind is still very foggy. Haven't really wanted to communicate. Kind of feels like oftentimes that energy between sleep and awakeness. And when you're in those phases, you feel that oscillation between action and actor, which is something that's kind of common in my life. That's one of the constant contrast themes in my life. You know, you begin to see the value in it with time. So this is how I kind of judge, I guess, for myself what's happening in my life. It's like when I'm pulled into these things, and I know I'm in that, I'm in an undercurrent of life that's kind of larger cycle. Right now it is the 2nd of December already this year. Thank goodness it's moving quick. But on the other hand, I don't like time when it moves too fast. You lose a lot of opportunity, I guess, to just sit and be. But we're heading into that new moon solar eclipse here on the 4th. And the energy's been going for a long time. I mean, to me, every transit is just a succession. There may be, it's kind of like, if you think of life and the energies and the dynamics, you can think of existence as a bunch of ethereal Swiss gears that are turning. Some of them so large you can't comprehend them, some so small you can't comprehend them. But you can see how in life there's many cycles flowing. And when you are bent on the subjective perspective, we oftentimes look linear and very progressive or degressive. And that shades our polarity view in this world to either absolute good or absolute evil. And I'm a cyclicist. I just look at everything as cycles. I always have. I think anyone that's kind of tuned into just feeling the warmth of the sun and the cool breeze, they understand it without having to think about that thing. But in this day and age, it's hard not to get caught up in the mind, particularly when there's wounds within you that the emotions trigger when you feel certain things. So the propensity to overthink or underthink and just go with de facto, science says type of indoctrination. Lila, that tends to bring those themes of disempowerment, power over, the emotional shadows, fear, guilt, shame, and also the polarity, which would be bypassing through love and light and peace and all that stuff. It's all good though, it's all part of the process. And if you're in one of those phases in life, it doesn't mean you don't change. You know, the ego is highly malleable, formed in the early imprinting of life. And this is why yoga and meditation or mindfulness and all these other practices, creativity, artwork, whatever you do, kind of help to inform you. Leela, come on up. What you doing? And what you up to? So, I don't know where I was. I've rambled off, but being pulled into the oscillations of life, the currents that are flowing. You know, we're heading into that new moon solar eclipse. It's a very wide orb, but it's in the cycles, and it certainly feels potent. Happening in Sagittarius, 12 degrees. So I kind of want to look at the ending of this eclipse cycle on Gemini, Sag, through the progression of the nodes through the signs. And I'm just going to take it back to the last sign real quick to paint the story for what we're coming out of, what we're going into. And you can feel it, but sometimes putting words to it gives you concepts, more understanding, or a remembrance of what it is you just didn't have the words for. So think of the nodes of the moon. You know, the past, the future. And in the middle of that is you, is reality, existence. And like gears on a clock, you know, each degree, each minute serves a purpose. And they're highly dynamic purposes. Everyone has a subjective, there's objective purposes, there's things we don't know about that are in cycles beyond our conception, which are happening all the time. And as those nodes travel, they go into Cancer, Capricorn. It hits from 30 and goes to 0. Whereas the planets, they start at 0 and go to 30. So this information here, you can see that, you know, you can count backwards and forwards. So if you're stuck in a progressive mode of thinking where hierarchy is a top-down type model or a ground-up, just remember, you know, every dial, every degree is like a combination lock in certain degree points with the various planets. They're unlocking different energies within you, within reality. And maybe not unlocking is the word, but creating. Leela, come. Hey, up here. Come on over. Don't go down there. And so the nodes going from 30 down to 0. I feel this is how, actually it is how the, let's see, let me think about this. This is how the ages progress as well. We're going from Pisces into Aquarius. So we'll start at 30 degrees Aquarius, and we're probably in that 0 degree Pisces right now. I don't know. I don't care about the details. You know, it's in between seasons you get a little of both. But we went from Capricorn Cancer into Gemini Sag, and Capricorn Cancer is that safety, security, family, roots, structure, society, legacy, rules, compliance, and great emotional depths. And those emotions are oftentimes walled off because they're too hard for us to handle and function in this world, so we find all sorts of things to capture our attention, focus. And that can be a beautiful thing because that chaos can create a lot of beauty as well, a lot of great art, a lot of great efforts being done to offset the shadow within people. But it also utilizes that shadow projection to form new edifice for dying systems and greed, mongering, socio-psychopathic, traumatized people. So we're moving from this understanding and feeling of our ancestral roots, our heritage, coming up through us and being capitalized upon by the momentum of reality. So people are being pulled into different dynamics. Either they're proud of their heritage or they're ashamed of it. Some people altogether are disavowing their heritage, they're disavowing the natural flow of how societies function between the polarities, for instance, men and women, the masculine and the feminine. And some people just don't want any part of it because they see how sick things have become, or maybe they feel that way. So we're moving out of that restructuring phase and we're into this, coming out of now this question and answer phase with Gemini, Sag. Gemini is that questioning mind. What is of value? What is the information? What matters? Let's get all the details. Let's understand what it is we're doing. Let's set it on the table so other people can hear it too. And get on the same page and we can work together. It's very communicative. And Sag is, they don't care about the question so much as the answer. Oftentimes, not always. But there's an inner knowing that comes, the gnosis which comes from the gaining of the knowledge mixed with the experience of life. And that is the belief that emerges within you. Sometimes you can believe things without cognitively orchestrating the facts. And so the details don't matter so much to you. But oftentimes what you need to do is question, is your belief, is it yours or is it something that you want to believe in? Because of your family, your friends, your virtues, legacies, or because it's progressive. And so when you're tied into those external from yourself, you're easily swayed, and this is how you become a useful idiot to others. And we've all been there many times. We are now, whether we know it or not. But life ain't just about power over in the negatives or the positives. So we've been inundated with information. A lot of the information is based on science says, which is the game of statistics. I'm going to give you a fact, but I'm not going to tell you that my fact was come to within this box, not taking into account all of the other variables. What's going on here? Hold on. So, I'm not joining this thing already. Someone trying to get me to join a meeting early? No. Anyways, when you fall into Simon Science Says, you are giving away your power to an ideology of which you want to believe in. when you were a child and you created something from your own imagination, and say you were drawing, you had the visualization, you just start putting it to paper. You're bringing it from the mind to reality, to form. You're reverse engineering. This is how creative people do everything, and we're all creative in our ways. And science is creativity. It's the systemization of creativity through myopic analysis. It can be great, but it can also lead you into your shadow projections, because you're externalizing value into something that you want to be true. So we're struggling with beliefs and questions, answers, seeking, and now we're coming into that Scorpio-Taurus axis where the truth of the matter is going to be known, because you're going to feel it. You won't be able to hide in the details. And it can be the darkest or the most comfortable place, the Taurus-Scorpio axis. And I suspect each of us will see a little bit of both. But you just got to remember, life is not static. It's a dynamic. Everything's flowing constantly, and just as seasons change, so do these energies and what we feel within ourselves. If you can just get through the tough times when you need to, sunny days come. So finding the value and casting the shadows of what you thought the value was. The merit of what's happening, you're going to see in full bloom the value of what it is. If you're still caught up in the dystopia of your own shadow projection, then you may get woken out of it. You may get pulled deeper in. It's all dependent on you, what you're going through, what you're learning. There isn't no one better than anyone else in this world, unless you believe that to be true and act it out in your own life. And that's what creates the distinction. So it truly is up to us. You create the world you want to see by being it first. Maybe you get burned at the stake, ostracized, called a conspiracy theorist or conspiracy investigator, or a sheep, or whatever, a dreamer. You're the only one that truly has to answer for anything you think, feel, do. And if other people are affected by that, that's for you to contemplate, to weigh. So in these times, try and go within, find the value within yourself, release those things that just do not serve you any longer. Try and embrace your shadows, bring them to light. When you have an argument with someone, when you have a disagreement, when you see some patterns you don't like coming out in relation to other people, pull it into the light. Speak it. Speak about it. Let it all out. It's the only way to exorcise those demons, They need to breathe. If you do it in a controlled fashion, then you're not going to get triggered into the autonomous loops of fear or lust or whatever it is that's manifesting for you as your shadow. And of course it is easy to say, but life ain't about simplicity or difficulty. It just is, and it's up to us to live it the way only we can do it.